Tonight on CTV News, new research shows what a massive tsunami could do to the Canterbury coastline. The party hats are on for the new Isaac Theatre Royal's first birthday, and it's the last round for one of Canterbury's best-known publicans. Kia ora, good evening. Startling new data on what a mega quake in the North Island could do to some parts of the region's coastline have been revealed. Research completed for Environment Canterbury paints a picture of what a resulting tsunami can do. If a magnitude 9 earthquake was centred off the North Island's east coast, it could send 9-metre high waves into much of Canterbury's coastline. That's what a new report shows by the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research. However, it says in a worst-case scenario situation, the impact in many parts of Canterbury would be less severe, with the maximum possible wave height being under 4 metres. Christchurch could see up to 2. The first waves would take between 10 to 15 minutes to reach Kaikoura. Further south, there would be much reduced levels of inundation in places like New Brighton, McCormick's Bay, South Shore and Akaroa, plus the Littleton and Timaru ports. Beyond these areas, land inundation would be generally confined to river mouths and the coastal strip. However, the first waves could be the largest, taking around 1 hour and 15 minutes to reach Christchurch and 2 hours 15 minutes to reach Timaru. The report's author also echoed previous warnings that getting inland quickly when a big quake strikes is vital. The big quake is likely to be a roller and last for more than a minute. Close to 350 people have lodged an objection to the Christchurch City Council after Wendy's put forward a bid to gain a liquor licence for its Hornby restaurant. The submissions were made up of 2 petitions and 75 individual objections. Tensions rose last month when community leaders rallied against the fast food chain's proposal, applying for a licence to sell alcohol between 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. 3 submissions were received in support of the bid. Well, the Isaac Theatre Royal is celebrating a milestone over the next few days, and they're marking the occasion in a bit of a dark way. Chelsea Daniels explains.
The Grand Old Lady of Christchurch Theatre turns back the clock on Tuesday and will celebrate a rather unique birthday, her first. The refurbished Isaac Theatre Royal, which was badly damaged in the quakes, has been up and running again for a year now.
A year ago we were all in a bit of chaos trying to get the place open, and now we can have a show that really puts the theatre to test, but actually something we've never ever done before.
Lenoir opens at the theatre tomorrow night, bringing 5 shows within 48 hours, pushing the world's very best performers to their limits.
Lenoir, which is the dark side of Cirque, is coming to the Theatre Royal. It's been in Auckland for the last 2 weeks and came here in 2 trucks on Monday, and you can see what's happening behind there in sort of the final rehearsal and setup day.
The show is featured as a part of New Zealand Cup and Show Week and coincidentally falls on this momentous occasion.
The nice thing for us is we get the opportunity to be part of New Zealand Cup and Show Week, but then also be part of our first anniversary, which so you know, it's the perfect show to put in here, and trust me, it's absolutely spectacular.
Lenoir brings audiences the dark side of Cirque in a captivating performance featuring 24 of the very best performers from around the world.
Pretty much all the performers are either current Cirque du Soleil or ex-Cirque du Soleil performers, and they tour around the world. They've come from all over the place, from Colombia, from United States, from Lithuania, from all sorts of places. So I mean, and they've all gathered in New Zealand, had a really successful run in Auckland, so we're just looking at 8 shows here over the next few days.
The Isaac Theatre Royal was originally built in 1863, but suffered extensive damage in the Canterbury quakes, going through a near $40 million restoration to bring it back to its former glory. And Mr. Cox says there have been downfalls, but overall the past year has brought joy.
The best thing, but by far, is the public reaction to the shows, and just seeing people stay around after shows and taking photographs of the ceiling, and really just the theatre looks like it used to look. But of course it's had a massive rebuild.
The Isaac Theatre Royal have already booked in shows for next year, but are keeping tight-lipped about what shows will be coming to Christchurch in 2016. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Christchurch City Councillor Ali Jones is not sure she'll run for council again. The Shirley Papanui representative says she'll take the Christmas break to ponder whether to stay in local government, heading toward next year's elections. Jones has been a Christchurch councillor for one term. Well, still to come here on CTV News, a hospitality couple say goodbye to the industry after nearly 30 years in the business. Welcome back to CTV News. A new food training centre's opened up in the city, providing the necessary training skills for supermarket staff throughout the South Island. Training in luxury. This new building will see hundreds of apprentices through its doors, a learning hub for all things food.
We train a huge number of apprentices, bakers, butchers in particular, and this is a facility specifically targeted at giving them the best possible training.
The new purpose-built training centre in Sydenham has been months in the making. It's the only foodstuffs facility of its kind in New Zealand.
I think it's absolutely vital. In any competitive marketplace, we need to make sure that our staff are really fully equipped with the skills to deliver what they need to deliver.
But a training hub wasn't always planned for the site.
Thought about having a cafe here, but we decided really because of the dearth of good training facilities that we'd build our own one here.
It's been a long road to get to this stage. After the Quakes, the centre was forced to train their New World and Pack and Save staff out of multiple locations around Christchurch.
Smaller sort of kitchens around the place and in different sort of hotel venues that were not actually a training facility or set up as a training facility.
And it will help long-term staff as well.
Now that we have this facility, we'll also be able to upskill butchers and bakers and produce people in a way that we couldn't before. And we'll be able to get people together, larger groups of people together, to have almost a masterclass type situation. To have this facility is going to be fantastic.
The first course will kick off in 2 weeks' time, with the organisation hoping they're a cut above the rest. A pioneering couple behind some of Christchurch's most well-known bars are leaving the hospitality scene for good, stretching from the early 70s through to the pre-Quake boom. Stan and Lynn O'Keefe kept the good times rolling for locals, tourists and visitors alike. Grant Bryant caught up with the couple as they say goodbye to their final venture.
After 40 years in the trade, 2 Christchurch hospo legends are moving on. Stan O'Keefe and wife Lynn ran well-known Cathedral Square landmark Bailey's Bar for 28 years. One of Stan's fondest memories was the close call he had with then US President Bill Clinton, who visited Christchurch in 1999.
2 of our customers turned up, and they were old enough to know better, male and female, and they said, "We've got a gun. We've got a gun in there." And the security guys are on them like a bloody ton of bricks. And so that was the end. He drove past.
One of the keys to the O'Keefe's successes was his reputation for being trouble-free.
We had a book, didn't we? On the blacklist, we had a book of those. No way.
Oh, we would ban people, but then they'd be ringing up and begging to come back in again, you see, so you didn't. And just very strictly managed by staff, really.
After the Quakes, the original bar was demolished, but the O'Keefes reopened the bar in Edgware in 2012. Last week, they sold the bar to 1977 All Black captain Tane Norton, also a well-known Christchurch hospitality figure. After most of a lifetime spent in hospitality, the O'Keefes are looking forward to something most of us take for granted.
I'm taking 2 months off, not doing very much at all, and then see what the new year brings us. And have a Christmas holiday, because it will be our first Christmas holiday in about 20 years, because we thought if staff had to work, then we worked.
And with that final beer, the couple are off to a life of far tamer hours. Grant Bryant, CTV News.
Very cool indeed. Well, students at a local school have taken out top marks in a national problem-solving competition, but it's not over yet for the teams who have another problem on their hands. Chelsea Daniels explains.
They might only be about 12 or 13 years old, but these girls from Selwyn House School could be the nation's next generation of problem solvers. They were first and second in the junior division at the Future Problem Solvers Nationals held in Auckland recently.
It felt really, really good. Us two were crying. We were just like, oh. It feels really great because it's second out of New Zealand, which for the group division, so it's not just out of a small number of people, it's out of everyone in New Zealand that entered, so that's very cool.
The two teams of Year 8 students specialised in global issues problem solving and now make up nearly 30% of New Zealand's national team.
So it's combining the ability to communicate with each other in a group but also manage your own time. There's research that they have to do to bring to the competition. There's all the steps that you have to follow that have got intricacies that you have to do, otherwise you'd lose points.
The teams have been selected to compete in the United States in June next year, representing New Zealand once they do a bit of fundraising.
We've kind of still been getting over the fact that we've been invited to go, so that's very exciting for us.
Since February, the girls have been working through complex problems for the competition, and their hard work has now paid off.
Some of them have been doing FPS for 4 years, but I think what's made them so successful is everything that's happened to them since they've been at Selwyn House, so all their classroom programs, all their specialist programs. Lots of these girls go to creative writing extension or they do code club after school, so it's kind of been a product of all of those things. They've been preparing for it, I guess, since they walked into Selwyn House, really.
All in all, the girls are proud with their win and look forward to more problem solving in the future.
FPS is a really great way of sort of learning, and working as a team is a great big part of FPS, and it's quite a pressured situation when you're in lockup, so it's really great to have those experiences.
Talking to the girls, I think they start realising that those skills will be transferable to lots of other different areas of their life.
But before they head to the United States, they have one more major problem to solve: how to fundraise the money to get there. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Well, now let's cross to Andrew King in the newsroom with what's happening in your neighbourhood.
Thanks, Jared. A Hey Hey alleyway once plagued with alcohol-fuelled parties has gone quiet after residents went public about their situation. Residents near the alleyway between Buchanan's Road and Aurora Street were left to clean up the mess of needles, glass, dog faeces and blood. But after media attention, residents report that the alleyway has now gone quiet. But residents are not sure how long it will last. The Christchurch City Council is looking at options for the alleyway, including the possibility of closing it. Private homes and gardens in the Darfield area will be open to the public to raise money for the local hospital. The Christmas Trail on November 29 will allow visitors to tour 6 decorated homes and 2 gardens in the Darfield, Kirwee and Waddington areas. It's the 3rd time the fundraising event has been run by the Friends of the Darfield Hospital. A highlight of the tour is Waddington former rectory owner Jim and Dee Nunnan with a unique collection dating back to the early 1900s of kitchenware and jewellery. Woolston and Bexley residents living in flood-prone sections could be breathing a sigh of relief this time tomorrow. The City Council will be asked whether to proceed with Stage 1 of the Bells Creek and Knights Drain flooding remediation projects. They aim to return both areas back to their pre-earthquake level of flood risk. Stage 1 of Bells Creek would cost $9 million, while Stage 1 of Knights Drain would cost $11 million. The City Council's Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee recommended the schemes proceed to the detailed design stage at its meeting last week. 15-year-old Avile Lalawata stole the show at the recent Aranui's Got Talent competition. He sung a song he wrote called Take My Hand and won the top award. Avile was surprised when the judges announced he was the winner. The young talent, along with one other artist in the competition, have been invited to perform at Aranui Family Day on December 5 at Wainoni Park. Darfield's primary school senior classroom block is practically unrecognisable after an $800,000 makeover. The block was officially reopened by Selwyn MP Amy Adams after being refurbished as a modern learning environment. Previously it contained 4 separate classrooms but will be a big collaborative learning space. The school received damage to the walls and ceilings in the September 2010 earthquake, which was repaired to the tune of $111,000. A St Martin's School play will be broadcast over Canterbury Community radio station for all to hear. The school's Young Writers Group went to the Plains FM studio recently to record its play that was written earlier in the year. The play even features a character named Mr. Callahan, who is the school principal. The station will add sound effects, tidy the recording, and next week it will be broadcast for all to hear. There will also be a podcast on the Plains FM website which can be downloaded. From the newsroom, I'm Andrew King.
Thanks for that, Andrew. We're still to come here on CTV News Sport. Plus, it was a much cooler day today in the city, wasn't it? Mercy will have, there we go, all the details leading up to Canterbury Anniversary Day. That's next. Welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon Finlater with the latest in local sport.
A series of milestones were accomplished in yesterday's New Zealand Trotting Cup at Addington. Trainer and driver Kieran Manning wrote her name into the history books, becoming the first female driver to take out our biggest prize in harness racing. Cup champion Arden Rooney was back at the stables today after a well-earned rest following his commanding run yesterday. And the history the team have made is still sinking in.
After Michelle Payne won last week, there's a lot more emphasis on it this week, and it didn't really put any more pressure on. I suppose there was enough pressure in going into such a big race anyway. It was just an added bonus after the race that we'd created history. So yeah, it was pretty special.
Rooney also broke a long-lasting Trans-Tasman voodoo, becoming the first Australian-trained horse to win the Cup in over 30 years.
Oh yeah, it's not easy at all. It's sort of, I suppose it's not that far on a plane, but for a horse to travel, you don't know if they're going to eat and settle in well when they get here, but he's such a quiet, well-natured horse that when he came to me, I only had him a week before he raced at Horsham, and he settled in really well and really loves his food, so that helps a lot with a horse to travel.
Hungry for victory were Australian owners Meg and Merv Butterworth, who made the trip across the ditch to see their pacer grab the silverware they could only dream of.
It was a dream. It was a dream a dream of Merv's to always come and have a go at the Cup, and it was a bit hard for it to sink in for a little while. I haven't even seen the replay yet, and I just want to see that. And yeah, no, it was just magic, a magic day.
Back in his old stable today, Rooney's days began under acclaimed trainers Mark Purdon and Natalie Rasmussen before making a now successful move abroad.
He felt that the horse might be better off in Australia, and felt that Kieran could do a great job with him, and I mean the testament is that she has, and Mark's quite happy to have him stabled here when we came back. No, there's just Mark and Natalie are just great like that too, and what a day they had too.
Rooney also became the first horse to complete the Kaikoura Cup, New Zealand Cup double in 20 years, and with next year potentially a three-peat at the coastal South Bay track, the owner expects him to be back.
That's a magic place too. That was, there's nothing like that in the world. That's just that day, the whole day is just wonderful, and to win it there again was just great, yes. So I have a feeling we'll be back.
And thankfully that interview was shot this afternoon. It's understood that the celebrations finished up at about 3 a.m. this morning. And finally tonight, cricket fans have a treat of a long weekend to look forward to, with 3 days of top-notch stuff at Hagley Oval. Kicking it off are the Canterbury Kings with their third 2020 match of the season against Otago tomorrow at 4 p.m. It's then the turn of the ladies, with the White Ferns taking on Sri Lanka in their fifth and final one-day game on Friday, before a 2020 between the two sides on Sunday. Well, you're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks for that, Gordon. Now here's Mercy with your region's weather forecast. It was feeling a little bit wintry out there today.
Thanks, Jared. Very bleak out there today, and unfortunately that dreary weather is continuing over the next 48 hours, showers and southerlies. Today's highs first up, 12 degrees for almost everyone here, apart from you Twizel, taking out 16 today. Heading to central Canterbury now, Christchurch on 13 degrees, along with Leeston and Darfield, 12 for you Akaroa and Methven, and Ashburton actually on 11. Heading further north, Kaikoura also a little bit cooler than we predicted. You took out 10 degrees today, 14 there for Cheviot and Amberley, 13 for you Rangiora and Calderton, and Hanmer Springs just 11 degrees. Over to the Alpine region now, 8 degrees for Lake Tekapo and Mount Cook. Now tomorrow, unfortunately, as I said, grey skies and southerly winds. They could be quite gusty for you Timaru, up to 60 kilometres per hour in fact, 12 degrees for your high, and that rain more prevalent in the morning. Flipping over to Ashburton now, a very similar picture here. Cloudy skies for you with those really cold southerly winds and 11 degrees. The Garden City might be looking a little bit bleak and not so pretty tomorrow, 13 degrees for your height with those southerlies. Kaikoura could be seeing a bit of snow lowering above the 800 metre mark tomorrow, 12 degrees for your high and southerly winds for you. Looking ahead for the rest of the Canterbury region, South Canterbury, you might be seeing a little bit of sunshine in the afternoon, but that morning looking like there's going to be a bit of rain and those cold southerly winds. Central Canterbury, you're not escaping these southerlies either, so make sure you're prepared for those. Rain in the morning for you, potentially easing later on. Heading further north, you guys will also be seeing this rain and these southerlies. Could be coming out with a few fine spells in the afternoon though. 14 degrees is the expected high for all of you. And heading over to the Alpine region now, Arthur's Pass, you might be escaping that rain there. 11 degrees for you with a little bit of sunshine. Now looking ahead, it dries up, which is great. Friday, good for that public holiday we're seeing. Northeasterly winds there coming through in the afternoon for Ashburton and Christchurch, and 16 degrees for you guys. Flipping over to Saturday, looking really dry and fine. Look at that, 19 degrees there. Great for those races. Northerly winds for inland places and northeasterlies for areas along the coast. Looking ahead for the upcoming days, Friday seeing those southerlies. Watch that, few showers down there, but most places remaining dry and fine. Looking really settled. Great for a day off if you get one like me. Looking ahead for Saturday now, northerly winds and northeasterlies there. Watch that rain though for inland places, but mostly looking lovely, dry, fine and settled. So over the next few days, tomorrow unfortunately looks like a day to stay inside, but Friday and Saturday looking great for that weekend, and fingers crossed that weather will still stay fine for the races over the next few days. That's your update for Wednesday. Back to you, Jared.
Thanks so much for that, Mercy. Fine weather on a holiday. Yay! That's what we love. That's what we love to hear. Rain is no good. Right, now that's CTV News for Wednesday. You can find all our stories and bulletins on demand at ctv.co.nz. Plus, this bulletin repeats at 7:30 and 9 p.m. tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. We leave you now with some of the highlights from the Canterbury AMP show. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.